Hi everyone, I'm Ma'am Nik and welcome back to my channel. In today's lesson, we're going to learn how to solve inverse functions, step by step and in the simplest way possible. We'll talk about how to find an inverse function and how to check if your answer is correct. So grab your notes and let's get started. So for example, we have g of x is equal to the cube root of the quantity of x plus 1 plus 2. So, ang nasa loob lang ng ating um, radical sign or radical symbol is x plus 1. So, to find the inverse of g of x or to find g inverse of x, so for the first step, we need to replace g of x with y. So, we'll have y is equal to the cube root of x plus 1 plus 2. And next, what you need to do is to interchange x and y. Lahat ng y gawin mong x and lahat ng x gagawin mo na y. So we'll have here x is equal to the cube root of y plus 1 plus 2. And then for the third step, your goal is to make one side of the equation equal to y only. So, y lang dapat yung matitira sa isang side ng equation mo. Either kahit pa yan ay nasa left or nasa right. So, first, what I can do here is, etong si 2, pwede ko na tong i-transpose to the other side of the equation. So, I'll have x minus 2. By transposition, itong positive 2 dito, magiging negative. And this is still equal to the cube root of y plus 1. And then, my goal here next is to remove this radical sign. Para matanggal ko tong radical sign or itong cube root na ito, I'll use the inverse of extracting the root, and I will raise both sides of the equation to 3. So, itong cube mo dito or itong power of 3 at itong cube root mo or yung pagkuha mo ng cube root, magka-cancel out lang sila. So, for the left side, you'll have x minus 2 cube at dito sa kabila, matatanggal na tong radical sign mo, you'll have y plus 1. And again, since ang gusto ko nga is y lang yung matira dito sa kabilang side, I can transpose 1 to the other side of the equation and I'll have x minus 2 cube and then itong positive 1 magiging negative 1 is equal to y. Alright, so now ang equation na natin is y na yung isang side and lahat ng nasa kabilang side wala ng y and in terms of x na lang siya. And for the last part or last step, I will rewrite this as the inverse function of g of x. So I'll have g inverse of x is equal to x minus 2 cube minus y. I hope you were able to follow along with the step. So let's proceed with our next example. Say we have f of x is equal to 7 minus 3x over x minus. So this will still follow the steps na ginawa natin dito. Although with the third part, yung part na magsosolve ka na kailangan mong mapalabas na yung y lang yung nasa isang side and the other side ay in terms of x, dun lang syempre magkakaroon ng difference. So again, first step is to rewrite f of x as y. So y is equal to 7 minus 3x over x minus 2. And then second, replace y with x and lahat ng x replace with y. So x is equal to 7 minus 3y over y minus 2. And then third step is how do we solve for y in terms of x. So what we'll do here is I want to remove or to eliminate the denominator first to make it easier for me to solve for y in terms of x. And to eliminate the denominator, what I can do is I can multiply both sides of the equation with y minus 2. So I will be having y minus 2 times x is equal to 7 minus 3y over y minus 2 times y minus 2. And since meron akong y minus 2 dito na nakamultiply and I have y minus 2 in the denominator, I can cancel this. And I will be left with y minus 2 times x is equal to 7 minus 3y. And at this point, medyo hindi pa natin pwedeng ihiwalay basta si y. Our goal is to isolate y to one side of the equation and lahat ng walang y to the other side. But since meron pa tayo dito, as you can see here, may nakamultiply pa tayo dyan, y minus 2 times x. So, hindi pa natin sila mapapaghiwalay basta-basta. What we can do here is we can distribute x to y and to negative 2. So, by multiplication, y times x is yx or xy minus 2x is equal to 7 minus 3y. And at this point, since all of the terms are separated na lang by addition or subtraction, pwede na nating i-isolate all the terms with y, lahat ng walang y to the other side. Okay? So, I'll have here itong negative 3y, nilipat ko dito, and then si negative 2x to the other side. So, I'll have here xy, negative 3y will be positive 3y, and then negative 2x will be positive 2x plus 7. And then as you can see here, we have xy plus 3y. Yung both terms ay merong common term or common factor na y. So I can factor out y, labas ko lang si y, and I will be left with x plus 3. Okay. So that is simply xy divided by y, that is x, and 3y divided by y is 3. And equal to 2x plus 7. And then, since meron akong y dito, okay, I have y here multiplied to x plus 3 para matira na lang si y dito sa isang side ng equation ko. I can divide both sides of my equation with x plus 3. And by division, so ito makakancel ko na tong dalawang x plus 3, I will be left with y is equal to 2x plus 7 over x plus 3. And for our last step, we need to replace y with the notation for inverse function. So that is f inverse of x is equal to 2x plus 7 over x plus 3. I hope you are following along with our discussion. Sana ay nakukuha yung techniques or the steps in solving or in getting the inverse of a function. So now, what if you're asked to check whether yung inverse function na na-solve mo is the correct one? What you can do is you may use the properties of the inverse of one-to-one function. And it is said that the inverse of f of x is f of x. Ibig sabihin, kapag yung inverse ng f of x, kinuhaan mo ulit ng inverse, babalik ka lang with f of x. And the second and third property states that kapag nag-function composition ka with f of x and its inverse, the answer should be x. So itong either of the three, pwede mong gamitin to check whether yung nakuha mo na answer is correct, or you may also use either one of the three to identify or determine whether two given functions ay inverse ng isa't isa. So first, let us try to have or to verify the first property. The inverse of f inverse of x is f of x. Tingnan natin if this will um, be correct or true to our solved example earlier. So, for example, let us try to verify the first property if it holds true dito sa ating second example. So, we have f of x is equal to 7 minus 3x over x minus 2, and ang na-solve natin na f prime of x, ay rather, f inverse of x is 2x plus 7 over x plus 3. So again, sabi sa first property, the inverse of f inverse of x is f of x. So let's try to get or to solve for the inverse of f inverse of x. The first step that we need to do, instead of f inverse of x, we write it as y is equal to 2x plus 7 over x plus 3. And then second step, we need to interchange. This is the first step. Second step, we need to interchange x and y. Itong y gagawin mong x, and itong mga x's gagawin mong y. So we'll have x is equal to 2y plus 7 over y plus 3. And for the third one, what we need to do is to solve for y in terms of x. So the solution dito will follow then dito sa nauna nating example. So first, we multiply both sides of the equation. To eliminate the denominator, we multiply both sides of the equation with y plus 3. So y plus 3 times x is equal to 2y plus 7 over y plus 3 times y plus 3. And since nag-multiply ka ng y plus 3, may y plus 3 ka sa denominator, this gets cancelled out. We'll have y plus 3 times x. And this is equal to 2y plus 7. Then, we need to distribute x to y and 3. So, y times x is yx or xy, plus 3 times x is 3x. And again, equal to 2y plus 7. Then, we need to isolate lahat ng terms na may y to one side of the equation and lahat ng walang y to the other side of the equation. So, etong 2y, lipat mo dito sa kabila, si 3x to the other side. So, we'll have xy minus 2y is equal to 7. 3x, lipat mo sa kabila, will be negative 3x. And then again, common factor kay xy at kay 2y at kay negative 2y is si y. So, ilalabas ko si y. And I'll have xy divided by y is x. And negative 2y divided by y is negative 2. Equal to 7 minus 3x. And parang matira lang sa one side of your equation ay y, we divide both sides by x minus 2. And since may x minus 2 ka sa numerator, may x minus 2 sa denominator, this gets cancelled. And then y is equal to 7 minus 3x over x minus 2. And as you can see, ito is simply the same with our given dun sa previous example natin na 7 minus 3x over x minus 2. So this is simply your f of x. So this shows that um, the inverse of f inverse of x is simply f of x. Okay, so now what if you are given two functions, say g of x is equal to the fifth root of x minus 1 over 2, and f of x is equal to 2x raised to 5 plus 1, and you are asked to determine whether the two functions are inverses of each other. So instead of getting the inverse of one of the functions, what you can do is you may use one of the properties of the inverse of a one-to-one function to determine kung sila ay inverse ng isa't isa. So in this case, I will be using the second and the third property to check if g of x and f of x are inverses of each other. So the property of an inverse of a one-to-one function states that if you perform function composition between uh, the given function and its inverse, ang magiging result dapat ay x. So let's try to use these two properties to identify whether g of x is an inverse of f of x or vice versa. So first, let us try to get f of g of x. So our outer function here is f and the inner function is g of x. So in this case, ang outer function natin ay itong f of x. So yung x ni f of x, papalitan mo ng g of x. So I'll have here 2g of x raised to 5 plus 1. And then I'll substitute g of x. So 2 times g of x is the fifth root of x minus 1 over 2 raised to 5 plus 1. And then use PEMDAS to simplify this expression. So dito, I have the fifth root of x minus 1 over 2 raised to 5. So etong pag-extract mo ng root dito na yung pag-extract mo dito ng fifth root, and then itong pag-raise mo dito ng exponent na 5, magka-cancel out lang sila. And matitira yung nasa loob. So that is 2 times x minus 1 over 2 plus 1. And then, I'll cancel this. Okay? I'll be left with x minus 1 plus 1. So, negative 1 plus 1, this is 0. So, you'll have x. Therefore, since x yung sagot, ibig sabihin, g and f of x are inverses of each other. Or, pwede rin naman na ang gamitin ninyo is try to get g of f of x. So, for this one, outer function is g, inner function is f of x. So, ang reference function mo ay itong g or yung outer function natin. So, yung x mo dito or yung mga x sa function na g of x, papalitan mo ng f of x. So, I'll have the fifth root of f of x minus 1 over 2. So, by substitution, I'll have the fifth root. Ang f of x mo ay 2x raised to 5 plus 1 and minus 1 over 2. So, ito, simplify mo lang. 2x raised to 5 plus 1 minus 1 is 2x raised to 5 over 2. Since 1 minus 1 is 0. And then, I have here, may 2 ako sa numerator, may 2 sa denominator. So, I can cancel this. Matitira is the fifth root of x raised to 5. And again, may nag-extract ako dito ng fifth root, naka-raise to the fifth power. So, magka-cancel out lang silang dalawa. And I'll be left with x. You may conclude now that therefore f and g are inverse functions, are inverse function of each other. Okay. So that's how you use the three properties to check if the inverse function na nakuha mo or the resulting inverse function is correct, or you may also use uh, either one of the three properties to identify whether two given functions are inverses of each other. And that's how we solve inverse functions step by step. And that's how we apply the three properties of an inverse of a one-to-one function. Now I have a quick challenge for you before we end. Please find the inverse of h of x is equal to 4 minus the cube root of 4x over 2. Please type your answer in the comments and I'll be checking and replying to your answers. If you enjoyed this lesson, please like the video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you'll be updated on the next tutorial. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.